In a statement that has very significant international implications, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh said that India reserves the right to change its policy of nuclear no first use, which has been the cornerstone of India's nuclear weapons doctrine for decades. The remark was made in Pokhran, where India conducted its nuclear test in May 1998. In his remarks, Mr. Singh, India's Defence Minister, has said that Pokhran is the area which witnessed Atalji's firm resolve to make India a nuclear power, and yet remain firmly committed to the doctrine of no first use. India has strictly adhered to this doctrine. What happens in the future depends on the circumstances. Let's just listen in to the statement he made there.
ये बात सच है कि जहाँ तक हमारी न्यूक्लियर पॉलिसी का सवाल है, उसमें नो फर्स्ट यूज कि आज तक हमारी पॉलिसी यही है. अब भविष्य में क्या होगा, ये सब परिस्थितियों पर निर्भर करता है.
All right. In fact, this is not the first time that in the last few years when BJP leaders have said it was time to amend India's position. In November 2016, late Defence Minister Manohar Parrikar had also made similar observations. More recently, Lieutenant General B.S. Nagal, the former Commander-in-Chief of Strategic Forces Command, is reported to have said that the no first use policy was the formula for disaster. To explain the significance of the possibility of India actually changing our nuclear doctrine, let's go across to Vishnu Shom for more. So, Vishnu, a very strategic statement made on Atal Bihari Vajpayee's death anniversary from Pokhran by the Defence Minister.
Well, Gargi, I can't explain enough the significance of this statement because for decades India has premised its nuclear doctrine on no first use. What this essentially means is that nuclear weapons will always remain a weapon or a choice of weapons of last recourse for India. So therefore, India would never preemptively launch a nuclear attack against China or Pakistan. India would only respond with nuclear weapons if attacked. But what this now indicates, a possible change in thinking on the nuclear doctrine, would mean that India might have a strategy or a policy in the future of a first-use nuclear strike policy, whereby India reserves the right to deploy and fire nuclear weapons, even not as an act of if we are under attack, but preemptively on other targets. Now, this has strategic ramifications and regional ramifications. This would certainly be a statement which would concern Pakistan and would concern China. But it also needs to be mentioned that given the weapons which we have acquired in recent times, that image on your screen over there is of the Shakti bomb which was used during the 1999 Pokhran tests. That's INS Arihant, a fleet ballistic missile submarine. And there's also an image of that, the Agni 5 ballistic missile. It's a intermediate range ballistic missile with a very robust range. Given the fact that India now has these weapons in its arsenal, and given the fact that a strident defense posture is something which this government believes in, something reinforced by the Prime Minister in his speech at the Red Fort yesterday, a rethink on the nuclear doctrine, some would say, is inevitable. Inevitable because it's featured in the past in election manifestos of the BJP, and the former Defence Minister Manohar Parrikar has also said in 2016, as you mentioned, that perhaps it was a time for rethink.
So, Vishnu, these sort of remarks have been made by a former defence minister and by others in the past, but this time around the context is very different, the situation that we see ourselves in, given what's happening in Kashmir.
Well, I think in terms of the rhetoric itself, this is rhetoric at some people would say at a fairly dangerous level. It indicates just where this government now stands as far as taking on the threat of Pakistan. Just earlier today, the Northern Army commander had said that India was ready for anything that Pakistan threw our way. Already the line of control in the last couple of weeks has seen artillery shelling. A few months back, we saw the strike on the terror camp in Balakot. We saw the first air-to-air battle between Indian and Pakistani fighter jets on the 27th of February this year. There is a great deal of uncertainty and concern about the security situation in Jammu and Kashmir, and now there is this talk of a change or potential change in India's nuclear doctrine. Remember, again, the context was defined by the Prime Minister yesterday when he spoke about profound change in India's military organization by announcing that there will be a new a new Chief of Defence Staff, CDS, somebody who would be senior in position to the Army, Air Force and Navy chief, and would be the first point of interaction with the Prime Minister on national security issues. This statement by Rajnath Singh in Pokhran, where remember India has conducted both of our nuclear tests, perhaps is part of that process where India reasserts very, very strongly where we stand on national security issues vis-a-vis China, but certainly more vis-a-vis Pakistan.